false arrests, and qualified immunity, and is brought to us by KDJ Pro's channel. Be sure to check out the description below and give them the credit that they deserve. On March 3rd, 2021, Missouri resident Mark Everman was riding as a passenger as his wife drove on Highway 69 north of Adair, Oklahoma, when Officer Adolfo Carlos of the Adair Police Department pulled them over for an alleged speeding violation, even though the body camera footage shows that Officer Carlos actually clocked the vehicle's speed as under the 45-mile-per-hour speed limit. After stopping the vehicle, Officer Carlos approached the driver's side window.
How you doing? Got your license on you.
So why did you pull me over?
Speeding, ma'am.
No, I slowed down to 45.
No, I got you at 58 coming in there.
No.
That's not true.
Sir, is the traffic stop with you? Step out for me. Step out. Step out. I'm not gonna ask you again. Step out. 8 to 1. Put your hands behind your back. You're under arrest for disorderly conduct. I'm gonna have a seat over here with me.
After Mr. Everman uses a single profanity to show his skepticism of the speed Officer Carlos claims the vehicle was traveling, Officer Carlos handcuffs Mr. Everman and informs him that he is under arrest for quote-unquote disorderly conduct. As discussed many times on ATA, vulgarities and profanities are protected speech under the First Amendment, and it is well established that voicing your opinion to the police is not illegal. Under Section 21-30...
I guess I think he said last time that unless the speech is like something that does something or whatever the fuck.
Statutes, quote, if any person shall make use of any profane, violent, abusive, or insulting language toward or about another person,
threatens something,
in the presence or hearing
or
which
harms
language in its common acceptance is calculated to arouse to anger the person about or to whom it is spoken or addressed, or to cause a breach of the peace or an assault, every such person shall be deemed guilty of a breach of the peace. However, as the Supreme Court held in the infamous 1971 case of Cohen versus California,
very
quote,
infamous.
the state may not, consistently with the First and 14th Amendments, make the simple public display of this single four-letter expletive a criminal offense. And as the Supreme Court explained in the 1987 case of Houston versus Hill, quote, the First Amendment protects a significant amount of verbal criticism and challenge directed at police officers, including obscenities.
Good.
The court also referred to its decision in the 1949 case of Term and Yellow versus Chicago, which stated the quote, speech is often provocative and challenging, but it is nevertheless protected against censorship or punishment, unless shown likely to produce a clear and present danger of a serious substantive evil that rises far above public inconvenience, annoyance, or unrest. Given the long established...
It seems on top of that, it'd be kind of weird if all you could do is just, you do like something weird to like personally base on me to get mad and say something, and then, arrested for fucking disorderly conduct. That's just
Amendment protection for
that seems
using
fucking stupid as
and
shit.
criticizing the police. It is almost guaranteed that Mr. Everman could not be constitutionally convicted of disorderly conduct for his use of a curse word.
Oh,
Right this way, sir.
oh, you're funny.
Have a seat in your car, ma'am. You can record, have a seat in your car. You can record all you want, but have a seat in your car. The way he's acting, I don't feel comfortable leaving him in the vehicle the way he's acting. Have a seat back in the car. The minute I walk up to the first words that come out of your mouth, you
First words that came out of my mouth, and I never said
Okay.
that. That's a lie.
you call me a
I
couple times.
did not.
It's all recording,
Not when
okay?
you first walked up.
So
You're right, it's recorded.
here's the thing. I don't feel comfortable leaving you in your vehicle.
I understand.
Nobody,
I understand.
listen, let me explain to you. Nobody,
I don't want to hear it.
nobody, well, you're going to hear it because I'm telling you. Nobody in the
Holy
right
shit.
mind acts like that. I don't know what your deal
They do
is.
when you're telling a lie.
I don't know what your deal is.
Yeah, this guy wants to get validated so badly that it's insane. You shouldn't have this fucking job if you want to be verbally validated and be fucking patted on the back for everything that you say or do. That's fucking
You
cringe.
lied when you walked
Okay,
up there. and
that's
said
fine.
I was
So
doing
fucking
58
That's fine.
When I know she wasn't,
Okay.
I said that's a fucking lie.
Were you the
That's
one
all I
driving?
said. I was watching her
Were you the
speak
one
because I saw
driving?
you way before we got there.
Were you the one
But
driving?
You know what? I'm done.
Yucky.
Okay,
I'm
so
shutting up.
that's why you're in cuffs and sitting back here.
Whatever.
Well, you should have shut up from the beginning. You wouldn't be where you're at.
Officer Carlos essentially admits that he arrested Mr. Everman solely for his speech, stating that he wouldn't be in handcuffs if he had quote-unquote shut up from the beginning. The Fourth Amendment protects the right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures. Because arrests are seizures of persons, if an arrest is not reasonable under the circumstances, it is a violation of the Fourth Amendment. In general, a warrantless arrest
It's
is
bullied
considered
Andy.
reasonable only if the officer has probable cause to believe that the suspect committed a crime in the officer's presence. As Officer Carlos had no evident probable cause to place Mr. Everman under arrest for his protected speech, his arrest almost certainly constituted a Fourth Amendment violation.
Yeah, exactly.
Section 9.
And since he's technically, or the guy's technically arrested since he's in cuffs, right? He's not only detained, right? Technically, he would give himself the right to like search him and whatnot. Imagine you're a fucking passenger, say one bad word, and now you're in cuffs. You can be searching people. This is fucking stupid.
1983 of Title
This is
42
stupid.
of the United States Code allows an individual to sue a police officer acting under color of state law for subjecting them, quote, to the deprivation of any rights, privileges, or immunities secured by the Constitution and laws. However, the legal concept of qualified immunity, which makes police officers, quote unquote, immune to lawsuits for civil rights violations in most circumstances, severely limits the ability of individuals to proceed with a 1983 claim. As the Supreme Court described in the
Wait, what?
2018 case of District of Columbia versus Westby, quote, officers are entitled to qualified immunity under Section 1983 unless they violated a federal statutory or constitutional right, and the unlawfulness of their conduct was clearly established at the time of the officer's conduct. This demanding standard protects all but the plainly incompetent or those who knowingly violate the law. Given the long line of Supreme Court cases supporting the argument that Officer Carlos violated Mr. Everman's First and Fourth Amendment rights through a wrongful arrest, if Mr. Everman pursues a 1983 claim against Officer Carlos, there is a strong chance he will not be entitled to qualified immunity.
Here's the reason why your husband went in cuffs. Let me explain to you. Let me explain to you. I don't have to answer that part. Let me explain something to you. When I walk up here and your husband his arms up and saying, and this guy's a, I don't know there's a gun in here. I don't trust him. There's something wrong with your husband. I don't know if he has anger Listen, let me finish. I don't know if he has anger problems or what's wrong with him. But put yourself in my shoes. If you walked up,
Trust me, my wife's
okay, what are you? Do you need help? Are you sure you're fine? Okay, because now you're telling me you're scared to go with him. I don't trust that guy. There's something wrong with him. I don't know if he has anger problems. And you can record. You don't have to hide your phone up there. Put it in front of you. You have every right to record. I don't know what's wrong with that guy. You guys only record the part where he goes in cuffs, but you didn't record the whole part where he's over there. Why is he acting like that? Is he under the influence of something? Does he have mental problems? Anger issues? Anger issues. There you go. Hang tight.
Damn, got
Mr.
him.
Everman's wife tells Officer Carlos that her life is quote-unquote going to be hell after the traffic stop, and while denying that Mr. Everman was under the influence or had mental problems, answered yes when Officer Carlos asked if he had anger issues. While these statements alone would not grant Officer Carlos probable cause to arrest Mr. Everman, a court could find that Officer Carlos was within his rights to detain and investigate Mr. Everman on reasonable suspicion of domestic abuse. In the 2020 case of Kansas
Yeah, but
versus
that would
Love,
be-
the Supreme
wait.
Court stated that,
Much
quote,
love, Felix
although a
and
mere
chat
hunch does not
xQcL.
create reasonable suspicion, the standard depends on the factual and
Yeah,
practical.
but that's after the fact, though. You can't apply information retroactively on the information you didn't have at the time, right?
Practical considerations
That's
of
fucking
everyday
stupid.
life on which reasonable and prudent men, not legal technicians, act. Courts must permit officers to make common sense judgments and inferences about human behavior. For example, in the 2021 case of Jurasich versus County of San Mateo, the Northern District of California found that an officer had reasonable suspicion to conduct a Terry stop to investigate a potential domestic violence issue, even though no allegations had been made and no violence had been witnessed.
That's fair
Citing
enough.
angry behavior and the suspect's contention that the driver of the vehicle was cheating on him, the court held that, quote,
Happy
those objective
30.
facts would lead a trained, reasonable officer to be concerned that there was some sort of domestic dispute or activity occurring that may be related to the crime of domestic violence.
I think this is fair enough. I think if you're a level-headed person and you feel like something is very wrong,
Yo.
okay, I would rather be wrong and as a police tank the fact that they're gonna get mad
2 years
or they're gonna want to like
xQcL.
bring me to court or whatever, okay, but potentially save somebody. I think that's fine.
Under this framework, if Officer Carlos were to testify that Mr. Everman's behavior combined with
I'd
his
rather be wrong and get sued than get wrong or be wrong and somebody dies.
wife's statements led him to believe there might be abuse occurring, a court could determine that there was reasonable suspicion to investigate.
You got any ID on you? So I'm gonna document your name and stuff and send it up. I don't know why your wife's scared. Is that your wife? Okay. Everything is on body cam
Well, no,
too,
this
okay?
is not what into this.
She's
This-
saying she's scared to get back in the car with
This
you
has
after
nothing
she
to do
got a
with
ticket. I don't know if you beat your wife or what kind of... Come here, I'm not done talking to you.
Flavia.
Hey, get...
Well,
Hey,
no.
Back in the car.
have a seat back over here.
You're
Hey.
This man lie like this?
Have a seat back over there.
What? He just told me you said you were afraid
Stand
for me
right
to get
there.
back in the car.
Stand right there.
Come on,
You
man.
walk over there again, I'm taking you to jail. I think you beat your wife, honestly. I'm going to tell you right now. The way you act, what? It's on body cam. It's all on body cam. Why would she tell me? I don't know your
He
wife.
didn't say that. You're lying.
She said you have anger problems.
You need to stop.
Okay,
You need
it's
to
all
stop.
on body cam,
You
okay?
should stop.
You got any ID or anything on you?
You should stop. No, I don't.
I'm gonna
wasn't
document
driving.
this.
I don't have any
But you
ID.
got involved with the traffic stop. You wanted to sit there and get involved. You're involved now. You wanted involved? You're involved now. You got any ID on you?
Do you have anger issues? Because you have not.
Yeah,
scored
you guys,
your-
am I wrong in the feeling that either the guy is free to stay in a car and do his thing, or he's detained / arrested, whatever the fuck. But having him here and say, yo, no, you staying here, it's just kind of weird.
anger this whole
Okay.
entire time.
Do you have any ID
It's
on
a
you?
passenger that hasn't done anything
Why are
so
you,
Where's
far.
your ID?
why are you such a high level?
I'm concerned for her, honestly.
Are you?
You can't be in the
am.
middle like
Are
this.
ya?
I don't
This is
know.
some weird, twisted reasoning you have. You got a serious anger problem, dude. Really worried about you.
Let's put this guy. You're free to go. I don't know what this guy's capable of.
I appreciate it, guys. You guys be safe, honestly, because you are why cops get hurt.
Come here. Hey, now come here. Hey, no, doesn't. Hey, stay where you're at, ma'am. Hey, do not leave. Hey, you're not free to leave. You just threatened me.
I did not
Step out of the vehicle. Get out of the car. Get out of the car.
I did not threaten.
You just told me. Get out. You just told me that you hope I don't get hurt and I'm
Wait, what?
threatening me.
I did not
Step out of the vehicle. Get out of the car. Get out of the car.
I did not threaten.
You just told me. Get out. You just told me that you hope I don't get hurt and I'm put your hands behind your
I asked you
back.
to be safe.
Now you caught a felony. You want to play that game?
Mr. Everman tells the officers to
Follow
be
Mr.
safe and
xQc,
states that Officer
get in the
Carlos's
juice
conduct is,
today,
quote,
are we?
why cops get hurt. He then immediately walks back to the vehicle and gets inside. Officer Carlos demands that Mr. Everman step out of the car and handcuffs him, claiming that he threatened him and committed a felony. As we've discussed in
Okay, what he said is kind of weird, but I mean, this
previous episodes of
It could be
ATA.
interpreted
While
as
the First
anything.
Amendment does allow states to criminalize quote-unquote true threats, it is difficult to believe that any court would find that Mr. Everman's statement was a serious threat, particularly given the fact that he immediately returned to his car to leave.
xQc,
Even if Mr. Everman's statement did constitute an
xqcL.
illegal threat, it is unclear what felony offense Officer Carlos believed that Mr. Everman had committed. While Section 21-1378 of the Oklahoma statute states the quote, any person who shall threaten to perform an act of violence involving or intended to involve serious bodily harm or death of another person shall be guilty of a misdemeanor. Because Mr. Everman did not threaten any act of violence,
Of a-
this
wait, of a-
misdemeanor
of a
offense wouldn't apply to
misdemeanor?
this situation. Additionally, Section 21-649
Okay.
makes knowingly
Interesting.
committing an assault upon the person of a police officer a misdemeanor offense. And Section 21-641 defines an assault as, quote, any willful and unlawful attempt or offer with force or violence to do a corporal hurt to another. However, Mr. Everman's statement wouldn't be considered a violation of this statute because, as the 10th Circuit Court of Appeals summarized in the 2016 case of United States versus Mitchell, quote, under Oklahoma law, the offense of assault may be characterized by either an
Have a
attempted
good
battery
day,
or a
Felix.
threatened imminent battery,
Too much
i.e.
of an-
an offer, with an overt act beyond mere words. Mr. Everman's quote-unquote mere words were not illegal under either of these misdemeanor statutes, and certainly did not
Dude, how's some of you guys are still telling me about the fucking list? Holy shit, calm down. Calm the fuck down,
rise
bitch
to
ass.
the level of a
Jesus
felony
Christ,
criminal
man.
offense.
Slow
To
down.
learn more about threats in the First Amendment, check out the episode of ATA linked in the description.
Wow.
He went from he has anger issues to
Twisted around things. I have a weapon.
Hey,
Officer?
Blotter, he's got a weapon. You literally just told me I'm the reason cops get hurt, and you hope nothing happens to me out here while you're carrying a gun on you? Seriously? Have a seat in there.
Officer, come on.
You ever sit and thought about the threats you made?
I did not threaten you, sir.
You just literally said,
I said
You're the
I hope
reason-
you're safe.
I hope you're safe, you got a
But
grin,
you are acting outrageous.
and you say you're the reason cops
You've
get hurt out
taken
here.
this to 100% level.
Okay.
First
This is like-
place, woo!
This is so dumb. You can't tie that statement to the fact that he has a weapon and the fact that he's gonna use it. This is what a reach. What?
You're getting cited for $795. All your information's on this ticket
For what crime?
for the way you were acting. Your concealed carry, I'm probably going to keep it and send it to the state of Missouri and get it revoked from you for the threats you made while we're in the traffic stop.
Okay.
as
Okay.
of this time the firearm is being seized as evidence.
The officers inform Mr. Everman that his firearm is being
Craigasm,
seized as evidence,
Craigasm.
and that they will have Missouri revoke his concealed carry permit for the quote-unquote threats he made. Under Section 21-1290.26 of the Oklahoma statutes, an individual who is in possession of a firearm authorized for concealed or unsealed carry by another state must disclose that fact upon coming in contact with any Oklahoma peace officer. In general, officers can seize a firearm if they have a reasonable suspicion that it has been used in the course of a crime, and this appears to be the basis for the seizure in this situation. Because Mr. Everman had the firearm...
Unpredictable, you can't predict the lives of it. Yeah, I mean, that's also, I mean, okay, he did a mistake there too. He should have said he had it initially.
When he made the alleged threat. The officers argue that it is evidence, potentially, for a charge involving a threat with a deadly weapon. However, as Mr. Everman doesn't appear to have violated any laws, aside from failing to immediately disclose his weapon to the officers, it is likely a court would find that the seizure of the firearm was not warranted. The officer's threat to get Mr. Everman's concealed carry license revoked also appears to be baseless. Under Section 571.225 of the Missouri Revised Statutes, quote, any person who has knowledge that another person who was issued a Missouri concealed carry permit no longer is eligible for such permit may file a petition with the clerk of the small claims court to revoke that person's concealed carry permit. However, quote-unquote, making threats is not identified as one of the reasons an individual can become ineligible. While criminal convictions can lead to disqualification,
that wasn't a threat in the first place anyway.
Arrest or charge cannot serve as the basis for revoking a permit. An individual can also lose their license if the sheriff reasonably believes that they are, quote, a danger to self or others based on previous documented pattern, but a single incident would not be sufficient to meet this standard.
Evidence of
the threats you made, and that's why you received a citation, why you went in cuffs the whole time you had
a business card, please?
After providing a citation and a court date,
it was not a threat. What was a logical continuation of events that you think was going to happen from what that statement? What is the next thing? A threat is like something that intends something else, whatever. What the guy's walking to his car, about to go home. What are you talking about?
The officers allow Mr. Everman and his wife to leave. According to a follow-up interview Mr. Everman posted on his YouTube channel, he called a defense attorney 5 minutes after this interaction concluded and fully intends to pursue legal action. Mr. Everman also stated that he called the chief of the Adair Police Department, but his concerns were not taken seriously because of the alleged threats involved in the incident. Several YouTube channels have shared Mr. Everman's story, and within hours of the video being shared by the lackluster YouTube channel, the Adair Police Department's Facebook page and phone number were down. According to Mr. Everman, the prosecutor has dropped all charges against him and returned his property after 2.5 months. Overall,
2.5 months?
Officer Carlos gets an F for blatantly violating Mr. Everman's constitutional rights, displaying a fundamental misunderstanding of the First and Fourth Amendments, and for maintaining a hostile and accusatory demeanor throughout the interaction.
F-.
Officer Carlos's conduct speaks for itself to a large degree. And it goes without saying.
The other guy gets, I think his behavior was overall pretty good. Albert, the other guy gets it's a B plus. It should have said he had a gun.
His behavior should be
B plus at
the very least. Not only did the officer display a reckless disregard for Mr. Everman's civil liberties, but it appears that he also initiated the traffic stop based on a lie. Although it could be argued that Officer Carlos had the legal authority to investigate Mr. Everman for a possible domestic abuse charge. It is clear from the video that the officer was maliciously accusing Mr. Everman of anything he could in an effort to justify his detention. This stop is wrought with misconduct from beginning to end, and I firmly believe that Mr. Everman has a strong federal case on his hands. Officer Carlos's behavior is a prime example of the type of conduct that contributes to the erosion of public trust in law enforcement.
True.
And it'll be interesting to see if the city of Adair holds him accountable for his actions. Mr. Everman gets an A-, because although he failed to inform the officers that he was armed and could have invoked his right to remain silent more effectively, he exercised his civil rights without physical resistance, peacefully complied with the orders of the officer, and followed up this encounter with the proper legal action. Whether or not Mr. Everman's statements were offensive or unprofessional, they were protected under the First Amendment. And Mr. Everman is not held to the same standard of professional courtesy as a trained and experienced member of law enforcement. It is well established that citizens have a right to verbally challenge the legitimacy of a stop, and Mr. Everman was well within his rights to express his dissent of Officer Carlos's claims. While Mr. Everman did make some minor mistakes during the stop, he maintained an excellent balance of complying with the officer's orders and exercising his constitutional
I just feel like having a gun and not immediately saying it, if the statute says what it says, right? I think him not saying he has a gun almost immediately already puts him out of the A bracket.
Rights. As mentioned before, Mr. Everman plans
That's
to
my
take
thoughts,
legal
though.
action against the officers involved in this encounter. And if you're interested in contributing to his legal fees, you can find a link to his GoFundMe page in the description below. You can also find a link to Mr. Everman's YouTube channel, so be sure to give him your support and let him know that ATA sent you. Let us know if there is an interaction or legal topic you would like us to discuss in the comments below. Thank you for
Okay.
watching, and don't forget to check out my second channel for more police and
They didn't ask. Yeah, but I mean, it's kind of your dude. No, I don't think you understand though. I feel like if you want to carry a gun, there's things that come with it, or whatever the fuck. And whether you're stressed or whatever the fuck happens, so for you not to do it, I think that's kind of on you. Otherwise, don't carry.
interaction content.
Carrying a gun comes with additional responsibilities, and it's kind of like it's a responsibility to know and do these things. I feel like.